Hello, Dari. I've tried to do the intro to this video like 3 times. And I'm like, why? Why the fuck am I doing that? Because I feel like in the moment I'm like correcting myself, because it's this idea that that I'm going to put this on YouTube. No one's going to see it, but I'm putting it into an idea of public consumption. And I'm like faltering underneath that. And where this whole fucking situation started was that I would do this for myself and that's it. And I'm trying to stick to that. But I'm feeling myself correcting myself in the moment, and that's beginning to irritate me. It's making me want to, it's making me want to pull my eyes out. So, I'm doing all right. I'm doing okay. So in the meantime, I am working on a vision board. That's my activity I've chosen to do for today, because my therapist said that I need to come up with a timeline of my life. So I thought an easy way to stimulate thought in relation to that would be to create a board of all these things that I've collected over the years of people and things that have meant a lot to me. But I'm not very good at building shit. I'm not very D&T inclined. I never really did that in school. So I am not doing too bad. I've got at least the items out, the things that I need. But I need rope from Officeworks, because the wire here has too much elasticity, so it's going to snap when I put it on the hooks. So that's not what I want. So I need to go to Officeworks and grab that. And I'm going to use this as an exercise in vulnerability and authenticity, because I haven't showered, I haven't washed my hair, I haven't worked out, I haven't done any of the things that I have planned to do thus far with my day. So I feel really ugly. But that's okay. I'm not going to let that control me, and I'm going to go on with my day as per my plan. So I will see you at Officeworks. So I just got to Officeworks. Oh my god. And I like to bring my AirPods with me places, because it makes me feel comfortable. And also with videos, it makes the audio not so bad. And I really wanted to have my AirPods with me for this trip. And I pulled out my AirPod case and there was nothing inside. I left them at home. Hi! So I just got home. And I'm about to commence work on hanging the things up. But truth be told, I don't think I know how to do it. So I'm going to get my father to come in a second. I'm calling in a friend to help me. He's going to help me set up the the fuck is it called? A corkboard. He's going to help me set up the corkboard on the hooks. Fuck. Yeah. He's going to help me do that. And then we're going to walk through this little booklet that I have of all these photos and pamphlets and posters and shit that I collected from Sydney, and there's some other stuff hanging around as well. And I'm going to put it onto this thing, and we're going to come up with a lovely, beautiful order of it together. And I'm going to just talk through these things, what they mean to me. And yeah, it's going to be very nice. I'm excited about it. So I will see you then. Okay, so here we are in the world of Liam's vision board. They are all set up, ready to go next to each other. So the way that I'm thinking about doing this in this scenario is, for the top one, I want to go for personals, emotional stuff, thing that's really cute, fun, makes me sad, makes me happy, makes me angry, just reminds me of different parts of my life that I want to stay in touch with. For the bottom, I've just decided to keep that for essentials, things that I just need to pay attention to. So down here, I have a City of Vincent parking ticket for $90 and another City of Vincent parking ticket for $90. I have a receipt that I have to keep on me for my tax return, and then a form that my therapist gave me on sleep hygiene, because I've been going to bed between midnight and 4 a.m. most nights. So that's probably not ideal towards what I'm going for in terms of my health, but basically I'm just gonna listen. What I was gonna do is break things down and talk about like what every piece of shit here means to me, right? And that's just not really seeming feasible at this time, because there's so much to go through. So I'm probably just gonna chat about how life's been recently and how things have been going while I do it. And if you want to stick around and hear me vent, please do. If you don't, so fine. So fine. But basically, like, so I had, the last time I did this video, or did a video, I was in the midst of I was just before going to see my therapist for the first time, my new therapist, because I've been in therapy like on again, off again for a couple of years, for like my whole life really, for like an assortment of different things. So when I was a kid, like a really young kid, I like had my gender dysphoria diagnosis. And for anyone who doesn't know what that is, that's the I say this tactfully, mental illness or the mental disorder. That's not necessarily a politically correct way of saying it. It's just like the only word that can come to mind, just for lack of a better term. I just can't, like the condition, but condition also makes it sound negative. I don't want to put a negative connotation on it. It's negative. It's a negative experience to have to go through because it's difficult, but the mindset of it all is not inherently negative. Let me make that perfectly clear. But I had my diagnosis for that when I was quite young. So I saw a psych about that. And then later on in life, I had just like psychiatrists about like my inability to pay attention. So that was like ADHD stuff, which is such old news now. Because like, I feel like every person and their fucking mother has ADHD nowadays. And like, not that that's necessarily, like, obviously like I think it's something important to know about, but like when so many people have ADHD, like is it really like a mental disorder anymore, or is it just like the way that human beings are adapting nowadays, you know? But I don't know, like so but like the kind of help I've been getting recently, like nowadays, when it comes to my mental health, oh, my sticker got stuck, is in relation to like anxiety and depression. And I saw started seeing a psych about that when I was in year 11. And that was just in relation to my friendship stuff. So for a really long time, I have been like riddled with anxiety about like the things that people think about me and things that people say about me when I'm not there, and my impact. And I've always been questioning my impact on the lives of the people around me, right? And I think everybody feels a lack of importance. But yeah, it's just for a really long time was really debilitating, because it was causing me to have like panic attacks and anxiety attacks, and also caused me to harbor a lot of resent towards a lot of people because of this preconceived idea that I'd made of them in my head, right? And as I grew up and moved past those therapy sessions, I found like coping mechanisms, and I found ways to like help myself out of it. And like that was well, to help myself out of it. Yeah, like because I found myself, I would rely on a lot of people when I was younger, like to help me through my anxiety and depression. This music is really fitting towards what I'm talking about. And nowadays I have to like really look inward, because I feel like when I say things when I'm in an anxious mindset, I say things that I don't really mean. And then I would, I then go on to hate myself for saying those things to people, like, because I feel like it gives them a different idea of me. So this is kind of all a non sequitur. I've just dealt with anxiety for a really long time, as most people have. Anxiety is like a very universal issue, so I'm not claiming to be special in any stretch of the imagination. However, my experience is my experience, and that's valid, and that's my truth. My truth. My dad hates when people say that. I get it. It's kind of a very, like, asinine term to, like, describe something. It's, like, it's very silly, because it's, like, what? It's, your truth is, like, there's your interpretation, but that doesn't necessarily make it a truth. I guess that's kind of what he implies, which I get is kind of true, but, like, also, like, I think it's a relatively harmless thing to say. But, so what I've been seeing my psych about most recently is the fact that I feel like all the anxiety in my life that I've had, it's now all just been, like, substituted with depression. Like, the world does feel quiet, but it also feels quite empty and quite hopeless, like, quite a bit of the time at the moment. And I'm able to have enough awareness of my own emotional state that I understand that that's just, you know, the playing field. You know, that's like, the world is hard, and like, okay, there we go. Like, I understand, like, with depression it feels like that, and it will get better, but it's just, like, about seeing that through, and I get that. So, and I'm gonna, like, see that through, and like, do what the best I can to, like, have rationality and understanding of the fact that this is just a for now issue. And right now, at this very moment, I am aware of that. But then there are days where I can't leave my bed for 3 days. So, you know, it's an ever-turning scale of mental health. But it is all important, you know? It's like, yeah, it's just, like, hard sometimes to just feel motivated to do anything when everything feels so empty. And that's what things can feel like. And I do prefer this mental state to the one when I was, like, dealing with anxiety and stuff, because anxiety is just so fucking loud, and it's so annoying to deal with it all the time, and to have to try and be strong and work through it, and to constantly be second guessing your emotional state because you know that these are just anxious thoughts. Like, yeah, I'm aware that they're anxious thoughts, but they're mine. And to never feel safe in your own mind in that kind of way is very frustrating and makes you feel very tired. So, but where I'm at now, at least it's, like, quiet, but, like, the world feels very empty right now. And, like, for lack of a better word, hopeless. Like, I know there's hope in the world. And there's hope for me in my ambitions and the things I want to pursue in my life. But as of this current moment, I don't necessarily feel super attached to that hope. But I'm excited for the time where I feel attached to that hope again, you know? But, it's just like a slug moment. But, so I go to the therapist, and she very much, is very kind. So a lot of therapists, this must be, I don't know if there's something they're taught, but they're very soft-spoken. They're about making you very calm and making you feel in a very open atmosphere. And that works for me, but, like, you know, I wonder if that's, like, the customer service equivalent of, like, it's like the, hi, how are you doing today? Of, like, the psychologist world, which is kind of funny. I also just, like, the visual of, like, them going to, like, if it's, like, criminal psychology, them going to, like Charles Manson or, like, Osama bin Laden and being like, hi, how are you? You know? I found that quite funny. But just, yeah, so I go in, we're talking, and I don't know what it is about therapy. I just have a lot of trust in therapists that they're gonna just, like, set me straight, like, that they're gonna do what I need them to do for me. And so I get in there and I just start yapping. And she, like, asked a lot of questions to keep me on track throughout a lot of things. So what was really cathartic and weird about the experience, and what was so exhausting, is just, like, you know, it's getting in touch with, you just see everything as a whole, because that's kind of what that first session is about. The first session is about understanding what needs to be done and what they need to do to push you forward into a healthy mental direction, right? So, like, you got to talk about it. You got to talk about all the shit that you don't want to talk about. But like, if you leave stones unturned, then you will never, like, they won't know how to treat you accordingly. Because it's also in the context of other things. Like, depressed people with, like, eating disorders, for example, might have to be treated differently to depressed people with, like, schizophrenia. You know, so they need to know it all to handle just even the individual parts of your mental health. So you talk about it and you see it all laid out in front of you, and it's really intense. Because for me, I've always been like a super happy kid. You know, like growing up, I just felt like untouchable. Had such a palpable sense of confidence on me. And as I got older, that did like shift and waver, and it was it was through a lot of different things. And I think what we're doing with my psych is we're trying to uncover where that comes from. Like where this like change in me, in my way I look at my world and the way I look at myself, where it really came from or where it stems from. But I'm sure I feel like it's partly gradual, but then moving to Sydney was a big deal, and there's a lot of factors that can play into it, right? But yeah, it's, you know, got to do my best. But so I came out of that therapy session really exhausted and really wiped out by everything we talked about. And I think it was because, like, I was so happy at one point in my life, and I was so I was so jovial and merry and happy to be alive and happy with who I was, and nobody could tell me differently. I just understood that even though I never felt conventionally like attractive, I always felt that I was beautiful in my own way, in a way that nobody else had. And that worked for me for a while, and now that just doesn't really work the same way, you know? So you're reflecting on your life as it exists, and you realize that you have fallen so far in terms of your confidence, right? Your self-esteem, your value, everything has fallen so far. And it's so, it's really confronting to think about it that way. Because I remember talking to somebody, a friend of mine, after this, and it felt like it feels like I've like, there's who I was before and there's who I am now. And I hold so much shame and anger towards who I am now, because I feel like I betrayed that younger version of myself. I took this kid who was kind and happy and confident and just ready to take on the world with so much like zeal, if that makes any sense. And then I just beat the fucking like life out of him. And that makes me feel really guilty, because I know I didn't do it intentionally. No one ever does anything like this, like, intentionally. Oh, fuck, I should have started with the posters. Because I have all these movie posters that I collected from my time going to the cinema all the time in Sydney. And now I realize that I've laid all this groundwork with this shit, the little stuff. You need to start with the big stuff. You need to start with the big stuff. Why the fuck did I do that? Oh my god. We'll work it out. We'll just do it spot by spot. But I feel like I took this young happy kid and just like beat the shit out of him, and no one would ever feel good about doing that. Like, no one ever really feels good about like doing something like that. But that's always the thing that made me really emotional. Because I've always had a really good relationship with myself, and to know that I like kind of betrayed myself in that way, it can be upsetting. But it's all part acknowledging your part to play and in your own mental health and your own struggles, you know, is important. It's very important to know like why you behave the way you do. But the fact that I have this shame and I have this guilt surrounding my behavior can be seen as a good sign for me, because I really I want to bring that part of me back. And there's parts of myself, oh god, it smells kind of moldy. Ew. Oh, I might have to fucking spray and wipe this shit. Ugh, god, I don't want to get a fucking lung infection. But the fact that I want to rejuvenate this part of myself is good, because it means the fact that I feel sadness and I feel shame and I feel guilt surrounding this topic, it means I want to do better, and it means I care. It means I care. It means that it means that I want to do right by myself, and I want to make up for the things that I did to myself. Obviously, though, it's important to say that the blame can't all be on me for things that have happened in my life that have changed my worldview. Because other people in my life have to also be accountable for their actions. I don't surround myself with anybody who negatively affects me now, but in the past I did. Because I had a desperate need to be liked by people. And I always assumed that when things were bad, that it was my fault that they were. So I constantly kept trying to make relationships work with people that were truly just not for me. And it's not about these people being objectively bad people or being toxic or anything of that nature. It's just about acknowledging that those people maybe aren't for you at this stage of your life. It's interesting to think about, yeah, but anyway, I'm gonna stop talking for a minute. It's just it's kind of overwhelming me a little bit. So I'm just gonna keep working on this for a minute and then come back. Well, that one's looking about done for now. See, the problem is I have all of these cards and shit from across different things, and it contains a lot of kind words of things that people have said that have supported me. But at this time, I can't it won't fit on the board, and also putting cards on there, there's this whole area down here I guess I could put them on, but it's is that worth it? If I hung them from the bottom like this perhaps, but I think we can just hold on to these for now, and we can think of something else to do with them later on. I can't think of anything as of right now. If you are a random person or a person who cares about me in the comments watching, you can tell me what to do about them. But for now, let's have a little look here. So this is my little vision board of me and my friends and all the things that have meant something to me and cared about, that I have tangible evidence of. And this obviously doesn't suffice all of them, so if you're a friend watching this and you're not on here, please don't be mad. Or if you're a friend watching this who is on here, I'm sorry if I used an ugly photo of you. But I promise, in my heart, you're beautiful always. Anyway. I'm gonna call the video there, but oh my god, I'm sitting in the cards. Thank you so much for tuning in and listening to me complain or vent about things that are going on. But yeah, I hope to see you back around for the next video. And yeah, have a lovely day and make a vision board. Make a vision board. Make a vision board.